Welcome to the Vault XL. Hope you all are well. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Very, very rainy here in the high 10 earlier today. Storms, rather. Hope you all are safe out there. This is a two-part live pertaining to the Oceangate Titan that imploded last Sunday in open sea waters below sea level. And the second part of this live is pertaining to Francesca Jones. St. Louis woman went ham on individuals inside of a car that belonged to her sister that was stolen. I will get into that said commentary after my Oceangate information. CBS Sunday Morning is the source. Thank you for joining me. And if you'd like to donate to this great network, $Viganji, 129 Cash App, stickers and chats, and welcome to the live stream. Thank you for your time. Please have a safe week. And also check my community board for upcoming news, breaking news, updates, polls. And I also will put a poll up pertaining to this Titan imploding under the sea. Should these individuals have taken this trip, gone on this trip, were all safety measures exacted on this sub? Could this event, could it have been prevented?
Recordings just got better.
Sorry about that. Intermission 12 times. I was wondering. That's what I wanted to hear. How many times had this vessel made it down to the Titanic site? 12 times. Her life is Dr. Rush's own words. Very interesting. Let's read commentary pertaining to what happened last Sunday below the sea. Thank you for your time. CNN.com is the source. Investigators continue to scour the ocean floor for debris as they try to establish the timeline and circumstances of the Titan's final voyage. Catastrophic implosion. The Titanic-bound submersible suffered a catastrophic implosion, killing all 5 people on board, the U.S. Coast Guard said Thursday. A remotely operated vehicle found parts of the sub about 16,000 feet from the bow of the shipwreck, officials said. Found parts of the sub 16,000 feet from the bow of the shipwreck. Tributes are pouring in for Hamish Harding, Paul Henry Najile, Jazada Dawood and his son Suleiman Dawood, and Stockton Rush, CEO of the tour organizer Oceangate Expeditions, who all died in the craft. The submersible was descending to explore the wreckage of the luxury liner located 900 miles east of Cape Cod at 13,000 feet below sea level. The Coast Guard will lead the investigation into the Titan submersible incident, the National Transportation Safety Board tweeted Friday evening. U.S. Coast Guard has declared the loss of the Titan submersible to be a major marine casualty and will lead the investigation, the NTSB tweeted. The NTSB has joined the investigation and will contribute their efforts. The USCG is handling all media inquiries related to this investigation. CNN reported earlier Friday that the Transportation Safety Board of Canada is launching an investigation into the implosion of the Titan. CNN has reached out to that agency to see how if they will be working with officials in the United States on this investigation. Father and son gave up their seats on the Titan submersible weeks before the implosion. Father and son gave up their seats on the Titan submersible just weeks before the fatal implosion after they had safety concerns about the craft. Jay Bloom and his son Sean said they were both worried about the submersible and its ability to travel deep into the ocean ahead of the planned voyage. Their seats ultimately went to the father and son who were on board when the vessel imploded, Shahzada and Suleiman Dawood. I saw a lot of red flags, Sean told CNN's Aaron Burnett on Friday evening after he was shown a video tour Video of tour organizer Stockton Rush walking through the submersible and its features. Sean said he told his son he didn't think the vessel would successfully make it that deep into the ocean. Jay shared a text message exchange between him and Rush, CEO of the vessel's operator, Oceangate Expeditions, where Rush offered the spots on the vessel for the May expedition. Rush then flew out to Las Vegas in March to try to get Jay to buy the tickets. Jay noted that Rush flew in on a two-seater experimental plane he built. He has a different risk appetite than I do, Jay said. Both Jay and Sean said Rush brushed off questions and concerns they had with the submersible. He had so much passion for the project that he was blinded by it, Jay said. He didn't look at the things that I saw and that others saw that were problematic because it didn't fit his narrative, quote unquote. The father and son duo said they will not try to do something like this experience ever again, and after they watched the news. All I could see when I saw that father and son was myself and my son. That could have been us, Jay said. The Navy system that picked up a sound resembling an implosion on Sunday is part of an array of underwater listening devices that the U.S. has had in place for decades, primarily designed to track the movement of enemy submarines. The system has also helped in the searches and investigative efforts of incidents at sea, some very similar to the implosion suffered by the Titan submersible. Initially called the Sound Surveillance System, SOSUS, when it was first created in the late 1940s and early 1950s. The array of sensors detects different sounds and acoustic signatures, which can travel great distances underwater. The system was renamed the Integrated Undersea Surveillance System, IUSS, when the Navy added mobile and deployable sensors to its collection capabilities. The Integrated Undersea Surveillance System mission is multifaceted, encompassing not only the operations of detection, localization, and tracking of submarines, and the collection of acoustic and hydrographic information, but also the maintenance of processing and communications equipment necessary to carry out the operational mission, according to the Navy. Because sound travels so well underwater, the sensors can be used to triangulate the position of an enemy submarine or an underwater noise picked up by the array. Though the system itself is not classified, according to a Navy official, its operation and collection capabilities are secret. In 1968, the Navy used the system to pinpoint the location of a missing Soviet submarine K-129 in the North Pacific. The U.S. noticed increased Soviet naval activity and concluded they may be searching for a submarine. In reviewing the data collected by the system, the U.S. picked up on the acoustic signature of implosion and were able to pinpoint the location of the noise far away from the Soviet search efforts. In the mid-1970s, the U.S. would attempt to raise the ballistic missile submarine from the ocean floor using a cover story that involved eccentric billionaire Howard Hughes and a project to harvest minerals off the sea floor. The mission was partially successful, and it began with the detection of the implosion by the same type of array that picked up on the implosion of the Titanic submersible. The listening array also helped in the search for two missing U.S. nuclear submarines. In the 1960s, the U.S. Thresher and USS Scorpion. The Navy is removing a deep ocean salvage system from St. John's, Newfoundland, according to a defense official familiar with the matter. The move comes as fewer ships and assets are needed in the ongoing efforts around the Titan submersible search. The removal of the system means the Navy will no longer have vessels or equipment as part of the recovery effort, the official said. Though Navy personnel are still assisting, the Navy sent subject matter experts in conjunction with the salvage system. The Flyaway Deep Ocean Salvage System, FADOSS, was brought into the search effort to assist with the recovery or salvage of the vessel once it was located. The system arrived in St. John's Wednesday, but it remained there as other vessels with remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, closed in on the search site and ultimately found the debris of the missing submersible. Because of the smaller size of the debris from the submersible, it's possible an ROV could recover pieces of the vessel if needed for further evaluation, the official said. The FADOSS system is designed to lift far larger and heavier objects out of the water. The salvage system is capable of lifting up to 60,000 pounds off the bottom of the ocean floor to a depth of 20,000 feet. It is primarily used to recover aircraft from the ocean or other heavy objects. It was most recently used last summer to pull an FA-18 fighter jet from the Mediterranean Sea, according to the Navy. A company that certifies marine vessels says it declined a request from Oceangate Expeditions to certify Titan, the submersible that imploded near the site of the Titanic wreckage, killing all 5 people on board. Declined a request. Very interesting. The interaction came months after Oceangate had defended a decision not to certify Titan in a blog post. Lloyd's Register, a marine certification company, did not say why it declined to work with Oceangate on what is typically a lengthy, expensive process to certify a vessel. And as you heard Mr. Rush say in this commentary by CBS Morning News, that he wants to bypass all those rigorous dealings, reports, and navigations to get the vessel certified. He wanted to do it the easy way. And as you see, the easy way got him dead along with 4 other people. The 2 companies came together in 2019 for Titan's first depth dive. At the time, Oceangate put out a press release saying the dive was validated by a representative from Lloyd's Register. While it invoked the name of the certification agency, Oceangate did not say the submersible had been certified, just that the dive itself had been verified. Oceangate was tooting, having taken Titan to a depth of 3,760 meters. That's about 12,300 feet near the Great Abaco Island in the Bahamas, according to the release. Titan, it said, was the only vehicle that could both hold 5 people and dive to that depth. In a statement to CNN, Lloyd's Register did not dispute any of the details of the dive, but said that the initial meeting did not lead to an agreement to go into the certification process. Lloyd's Register declined a request from Oceangate to provide classification. Following a preliminary observation of Oceangate testing a Titan submersible in 2019, the company said in a statement, Lloyd's Register did not go on to class the installation. In 2018, industry experts urged Oceangate to certify Titan to ensure its safety, saying failure to do so could be catastrophic. Will Conan, who wrote a letter and spoke with Oceangate CEO Stockton Rush about his concerns, told CNN there are 10 submarines in the world that can go 12,000 feet and deeper. All of them are certified except, once again, except Oceangate submersible. The 2019 dive came 2 months after Oceangate put up a blog post defending its decision not to certify Titan, arguing it could take years to stifle innovation by itself. And you just heard him say this, his last words pertaining to why he did not want to certify his own vessel, Mr. Rush. It could take years to stifle innovation, and by itself classing it is not sufficient to ensure safety, quote unquote. The timing shows that the company may have still been considering certification even after defending its decision not to certify. CNN has reached out to Oceangate for comment. A CNN review of Oceangate's marketing material, public statements made by CEO Stockton Rush and court records show that even as the company touted a commitment to safety measures, it rejected industry standards that would have imposed greater scrutiny on its operations and vessels. The company also boasted of collaborations with reputable institutions that have since denied partnering with Oceangate on the submersible in question. Some industry experts say Oceangate's operations were known to be risky. This was a company that was already defying much of what we already know about submersible design. Rachel Lance, a Duke University biomedical engineer who has studied physiological requirements of survival underwater, said on CNN Thursday. She noted some of the vessel's design materials were already large red flags to people who have worked in this field. Oceangate declined to comment on its safety record. To the public, Oceangate's marketing sought to appeal to potential customers' sense of adventure while also assuring them the adventure was safe. They featured scientists or explorers praising the company's innovations. One flashy promotional video published last year opens with their voiceover boasting an unforgettable but safe voyage. Oceangate Expeditions offers you the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be a specially trained crew member safely diving to the Titanic wreckage site, quote unquote. That video also features explorer Paul Henry Nargiole, who was among those who died this week, praising the design of the doomed vessel. The sub, for me, is very well done because it's simple, Nargiole said. Usually they have a lot of equipment and a lot of switches. And on this one, you don't have, because you work with a screen and a keyboard, and it's very easy to do that. And as you heard in this CBS Morning Report, these are the same words you heard by the now deceased Nargiole. That simplicity was highlighted late last year when Rush invited CBS News reporter David Pogue on a voyage in which Rush admitted that he bought parts of the craft off the shelf at stores such as Camping World. And you will hear that at the beginning of this live stream with this CBS reporter, Mr. David Pogue, who was trying to venture with this innovator and crew to see the wreckage. But it was not afforded the opportunity due to some mishaps. Once again, please go back to the beginning of this video to hear that interaction, and the live video is in the YouTube queue via CBS News Network. In online videos, Rush explained the Titan's unconventional design, which he said included carbon fiber to increase the vessel's buoyancy. It hasn't been used in a crude submersible even ever before, he said in a video last year. The Titan also included an unparalleled safety feature that monitored the integrity of the vessel's hull during each dive, according to Oceangate's website. 2021 press release highlighted its multiple redundant safety systems, but in a separate interview with Pogue, Stockton seemed dismissive of safety. At some point, safety just is a pure waste, Stockton said. I mean, if you just want to be safe, don't get out of bed. Don't get in your car. Don't do anything. Now, as I said in this, as you heard in this article, the Canadian Transportation Company Safety Board are launching their investigation into this submersible implosion. Just giving you a little bit of everything in this article by CNN because it's rather lengthy. And then the new mission is to go to the site to try to, I guess, get near the wreckage to do, what they have to do to go down there under the water. It says the mission of the Odyssey 6 remotely operated vehicle is to continue searching and mapping out the debris site. ROV's mission began late Friday morning and will take about an hour to get down to the location of the debris field. What does it mean, implosion? What was supposed to be a 10-hour journey to the Titanic shipwreck ended in tragedy, with all 5 passengers on the missing submersible killed in a catastrophic implosion. And you're going to hear a lot of that, catastrophic. Their deaths were confirmed Thursday, including a week-long search for survivors that was closely watched around the world. An underwater implosion refers to the sudden inward collapse of the vessel, which would have been under immense pressure at the depths it was diving toward. It's unclear where or how deep the Titan was when the implosion occurred, but the Titanic wreck sits nearly 13,000 feet, or almost 4,000 meters below sea level. 13,000 feet. Now, you hear of lakes being a couple of hundred feet underneath. Now imagine a couple of hundred feet versus 13,000 to the ocean floor. That is a long travel down. 13,000 feet. An airplane is alleged to be what? 26 to 30,000 feet in the air above ground. Fly at a safety level. Cruise 26,000 feet. So that's half and half of ground to air. 26,000 altitude flying versus 13,000 below the ground, below the sea. Very interesting information. The submersible was about 1 hour and 45 minutes into the roughly 2-hour descent when it lost contact. Once again, the submersible was 1 hour and 45 minutes into the roughly 2-hour descent when it lost contact. At the depth the Titanic rests, there is around 5,600 pounds per square inch of pressure, several hundred times the pressure we experience on the surface, according to Rick Mercar, the international training director at the National Association of Cave Diving. The catastrophic implosion is incredibly quick, taking place within just a fraction of a millisecond, said Eileen Maria Marty, a former naval officer and professor at Florida International University. The entire thing would have collapsed before the individuals inside would even realize there was a problem, she told CNN. Ultimately, among the many ways in which we can pass, that's painless. Let's repeat that again. Before the individuals would even realize that there was a problem, it would have already had collapsed. So basically, she's saying that their deaths were painless. This implosion would have been a fraction of a millisecond. Interesting. The designs of this Titan demanded special extra attention, according to William Coleman, chair of the Marine Technology Society's Manned Underwater Vehicles Committee, adding that he had conversations with the late Oceangate CEO to express his concerns about the company's approach to submersibles. Conan, who was also president of the Hydrospace Group, said he made requests to Oceangate to make its website more transparent, to spell out that the Titan design was experimental and not certified. They ultimately changed it, he said. Very interesting now. Speaking to Anderson Cooper on CNN this morning, Conan said the carbon fiber hull demanded special extra attention just because that had never been done before. It meant an additional effort and probably quite a bit of extra testing to get passed through that certification process, he said. The small community of submersible experts had numerous conversations with the late Oceangate CEO Stockton Rush, Conan said, and they issued a letter essentially saying, you are going really, really fast over here and you're ignoring some of the knowledge base that we have for these things. Conan said Rush's response amounted to the existing regulations are stifling innovation and it's too slow, and we have a better method. Quote unquote. Developing an alternative method of self-certification is not forgiving, Conan continued. He called for full disclosure in the industry. Just tell the public this is not certified. This is experimental. And then it leaves some of the decisions to people to make, he added. There's also part of this article that says deep sea tourism should pause, as scientists who survived a Titanic submersible scare in 2000. Gillen survived a close call in 2000 when he says the submersible he was caught in got in an underwater current, causing a collision with the propeller of the Titanic wreck. He said there are two main reasons for taking a pause based on his experience. Number one, the sea is dangerous. This is not a playground. The ocean is restless. And I think of it when I was looking at the North Atlantic waters. They're dark, they're cold. They just want to swallow you up if you make the tiniest little mistake, he said in an interview on CNN. And this is Dr. Michael Gillen, a scientist, journalist, and author who was the first TV correspondent to report from the Titanic. He feels that all type of ventures underwater should cease. Second of all, what I took away from the trip down there was that it isn't just a shipwreck. I went down there thinking I'm just going to report on a shipwreck. But what hit me, especially in that moment of prayer, and it came home to me, that people lost their lives, men, women, and children, more than 1,000 of them. This is their final resting place. This is sacred ground, he said. I think we should pause, figure out what happened so we can fix it in the future, but also think of the danger and think of the sacredness of this site. It's not a joyride. It's not a Disneyland destination, he added. The Titan submersible that went missing Sunday during a trip to view the wreckage of the Titanic suffered, once again, catastrophic implosion, killed 5 on board. Submersible had originally embarked on a journey into the depths of the seas off Canada's coast. Once again, the Titan's ultimate destination was the Titanic's wreckage, which sits at the bottom of the ocean, nearly 13,000 feet below the surface southeast of Newfoundland. As authorities now seek to better understand what went wrong with the sub, they're dealing with an incredibly complex operating environment on the seafloor, over 2 miles beneath the surface, a U.S. Coast Guard official said Thursday. So we have Mr. Rush, inventor of this vessel, an explorer by the name of Paul Henry Nargeolet, who was also aboard this Titanic-bound submarine, and 3 other guests who paid a hefty fine to go on this water doom. Just giving you all the basic information. So right now they're working on the timeline and circumstances of the accident. Remotely operated vehicles will remain on the scene and continue to gather information from the seafloor. U.S. Coast Guard Rear John Mager said Thursday, Admiral John Mager. They will map out the vessel's debris field, which is more than 2 miles deep in the North Atlantic Ocean. It will take time to determine a specific timeline of events. In the incredibly complex case of the Titan's failure, he added, the Coast Guard official said the agency will eventually have more information about what went wrong and its assessment of the emergency response. What was found? 5 different major pieces of the debris from the Titan submersible, according to Paul Hanks, the U.S. Navy's Director of Salvage Operations and Ocean Engineering. The debris was consistent with the catastrophic loss of pressure chamber and, in turn, a catastrophic implosion, he said. As of now, there does not appear to be a connection between the banging noises picked up by sonar earlier this week and where the debris was found. So far, they have located the Titan's nose cone and one end of its pressure hulls in the large debris field, and the other end of the pressure hull in a second smaller debris field. The U.S. Navy detected an acoustic signature consistent with an implosion on the Sunday and relayed that information to the commanders leading the search effort, a senior official told CNN, but the sound was determined to be not definitive. The official said. Margaret said rescuers had sonar buoys in the water for at least the last 72 hours and had not detected any catastrophic events. Listening devices set up during the search also did not record any sign of an implosion, he added. These are the people that were on board. 2 organizer Oceangate expeditions said Hamish Harding, Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman Dawood, and Paul Henry Nargeolet, and Oceangate CEO Stockton Rush, died in the sub. They shared a distinct spirit of adventure, the company said in a statement. Nargeolet was incredibly talented, iconic, legendary, greatest deep diver the world has ever known, his friend Alfred Hagen told CNN as he recalled a previous trip on which he descended with Nargeolet in the Titan sub to the Titanic wreckage. Engro Corporation Limited, of which Shahzada Dawood was vice chairman, said the company grieves the loss of him and his son. The British Asian Trust said Friday it is deeply saddened by the death of its trustee, Shahzada Dawood, and his son. The governments of Pakistan and the United Kingdom also offered condolences. The University of Strathclyde in Glasgow, Scotland, said it's profoundly saddened by the death of its student, Sulaiman Dawood. James Cameron, who directed the hit 1997 movie Titanic, has himself made 33 dives to the wreckage, said he's worried the Titan submersible's implosion will have a negative impact on citizen explorers. He also said he saw a parallel with the Titanic due to the unheeded warnings about a sub that was not certified. The Polar Prince, a vessel used to transport the Titan submersible to the site of the Titanic wreckage, is departing the area today. It will return to St. John's, Canada, either late Friday or early Saturday morning, a source with the Horizon Maritime, the company that owns the ship, told CNN. And he goes on for there, and I'm going to stop because I'm getting a bit winded, almost 41 minutes. 5 people are no longer alive that took this voyage. And as this man speaks about going down there, he made a great point of saying, this is not just history, seeing the wreckage of the Titanic lying on the floor of the ocean, but people died there. This is their resting place. It is sacred. Yes, it is. Although it's in the deep ocean, people lost their lives there, man, woman, and child. And as you heard Mr. Cameron, the Titanic director, say, too many red flags, too many similarities to the actual Titanic. There were signs, warning signs that were not heeded from the same person that veered the vessel many moons ago, the Titanic, and Mr. Rush. Not listening, not caring. And Mr. Rush was a hothead in my book. You will hear his statements at the beginning of this live stream via CBS News as the source, morning news. He didn't care about rules. He didn't care about having the vessel certified. He used cheap parts to man this thing, which exploded down in that damn water. And even if you had to get help down there, how are you going to get the people? So you have to use common sense. There's nothing you could have done to save those people that far down. Because as this woman who is an expert in this field says, millisecond of it imploding, they felt nothing. And that's what many of us are probably wondering. Did they hear anything, feel anything? Were they scared? What was going on? A millisecond. A second is just what it is, a second. I don't want to think they felt anything, saw anything. Because as she said, whatever they could have seen and felt, they were already gone. No time to react, no time to cry, holler, scream. And that's the scary part of this story. It's the visualization of what actually took place. As we say, if I could be a fly on the wall. Yeah, imagine that. If we could be a fly on the wall, seeing it probably would make our stomach turn. If we could have seen what happened down there on that ocean floor, it would not have been nice. But the arrogance is what got these people killed. The arrogance of building this thing, not wanting it certified. Why not? He was arrogant, Mr. Rush. And arrogance got him killed. And sadly, 4 of the people who wanted to go on the venture died alongside him in this small vessel. There should have been some regulations for him not to even be able to put that thing in the water. How about that? That's what will be on the poll on my community page. Should this company been cited for putting it in the water and it not being certified with maritime regulations, so on and so forth? what I always find interesting about life and defy what is known to be done right. And we know that anything can go bump in the night, even with verifications, certifications. But that's the point. So long as it was done right, it passed the vigorous tests. Yes, we know anything can happen, such as flying in an airplane 27,000 feet in the air. Something could happen with the propeller engine. Bird hits the window, flies in the engine, so on and so forth. And many things have gone wrong while planes have been in the air, and luckily the pilots have been able to bring that bad boy down to safety with its occupants. Not so in this case. Imagine that. How many times a plane was able to divert its journey and land to safety? They'll tell you it's safer to fly than to ride in an automobile and drive an automobile on land. That's an interesting theory. Safer to fly than to drive in a car. I want you to think about that. And this other man who's partnered with Mr. Rush, I do believe he feels the same, excuse me, about this company they started in this vessel. But you're not going to win the argument because they're dead people now. And you have a dead man's word, your partner. He didn't care about verifications and certifications of this vessel. And I remember Brittany telling me that they signed a waiver. I have not heard that yet in any of this commentary that I read, but just imagine signing a waiver saying, if something happens to you on this journey, you're not going to find us at fault or what? Have your relatives sue us. Now let's see who comes with the lawsuit. Waiver or no waiver signed by the occupants. Going down there, period, in this vessel. It's been down there 12 times. You hear Mr. Cameron say he's been down there 13 times. So I have to ask myself and ask Mr. Cameron, who directed the Titanic, what are you looking for down there? How many times do you need to go way, way down below the floor, ocean floor, for what? Why? 13 times to the ocean floor, for what reason? And although this thing's been down there 12 times, it didn't make it the 13th time. Because we know the 13th time is what? A very unlucky number. Bet you all didn't think about that. Number 13. Let me say it again. Number 13. Not a lucky number. Superstitious? Maybe not. Maybe there is something to the number 13. Because if this is the 13th time, it didn't fare well. What made these people want to forfeit all this money in their life? $250,000 is what you exchange for death. That was your lucky number. $250,000. So basically, you signed a piece of paper to get in this doomed vessel that you thought was going to make it down there. Dark, cold. Exactly. Why in the world would you want to go below the earth in the darkness? Why in the world would you want to go down there? That's my thing. In the dark. Hey, let's pick a day when it's sunny. See, I thought this thing was going to be manned by another vessel attached to something else. In case something goes wrong, another type of boat, bigger vessel can pull this thing up. But as you hear in this commentary I played, Mr. Rush lays out what the vessel was made of for buoyancy and how they were operating it with just a computer screen and a controller. just an idiot. Working a vessel beneath the earth with a video game controller. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Camping World lights on the inside. And as you heard this older man speaking, the glass eventually is going to what? Break. You keep going down, It's pressure down there in that water. That's the very reason why people die on the water, in the water, because of the pressure. You've heard it 1,000 times. Oh, the current, oh, the waves. Because water is hell. Beautiful as it is, it's hell. And that's what I think of going into the ocean. Hell made of water. Because there's no security once you're on the water, in the water. The boat collapses. The ship collapses. You fall off a boat, pushed off a boat. Give a damn if it's daylight. You can't suck down all that water and try to survive. Heard some people saying, well, what about the bodies and the remains? Do you hear what the hell you're saying? The vessel rather, imploded, which is another word for explosion. And you're asking about body parts. Come on now. And you're in the ocean with sea animals. Do we need to really ask this question? Use your imagination. See, people don't think when they speak. Explosion means up above, dirt, ground. Implosion in the water, caved in. Exactly, humans don't belong there. Same thing I think of the wilderness. Arrogance, cockiness got this man killed, got this explorer killed, diver, and these other occupants. But they did make a sound choice to go on their own. And maybe they've never been that far down in the water, but it was their choice. I would not have done it. Whether I was a swimmer or not, you can't swim up 13,000 feet, 14,000 feet of water. And then it imploded, so you don't even have a chance of survival if you could swim up. This is how I feel about man. He's arrogant, he's cocky, and he usually perfects his own death because he doesn't want to listen. And that is what has happened with man from the beginning of time. He wants to defy the odds, such as going 13,000 below the sea to see absolutely nothing. Mayhem. Because that's all that wreckage is mayhem. Climbing the highest peak for what? To get dehydrated, pass out, lose an arm, leg from freezing temperatures. Going in the wilderness to hike, get lost. Skydiving. Traveling around the world on a TikTok boat to say I did it. It's all the same. You have a point to prove to the world. And I believe that's what was wrong with Mr. Rush and his partner. One had a point to prove. Now one's still standing. And possibly still advocating for this damn vessel company. And there will still be another fool that would jump in another vessel and go back down there if indeed the surviving partner decided to put another vessel in the water. There will still be another fool that would give up $250,000 to take the trip to hell. You see, you can't tell man anything because he knows better than anyone else. Oh, I can do it. I can fly, believe me. I'm not a bird, but I can fly. I'm not a boat, but I'm a vessel. You see where I'm going? Because he's hard-headed. He's defiant. He's a rebel. He's a fool. The very reason, as I said, Many have been lost at sea. Many have died in the wilderness, the mountains, hiking, climbing high peaks in treacherous weather, below freezing weather, because they are fools. They can't accept nature for what she is. You can't accept that the highest peak is there. You've got to test it. You got to climb it. You got to go in the water. Why can't you just stand at the shore and appreciate her beauty? Beautiful water, beautiful peaks, beautiful mountaintops. People risking their lives just to take pictures for National Geographic and said magazines to bring you pictures of the peaks, the ocean, so on and so forth. But somebody says, that's not good enough. I need to be in there. I need to be in the mountains. I need to be in the water. And you would sell your soul to die there. And then someone has to risk his or her life to find you. How about that? Flying in a helicopter in steep terrains to find a crashed aircraft. You heard that in this article, in the audio. Rinky-dink airplane to fly to Vegas to try to talk two other people into getting into this vessel of doom, a son and father who declined. Aren't they glad they gave up their seats? They had questions about the vessel. Mr. Rush, he ignored the questions, the concerns. So they forfeited the trip. Amen. But see, this is what happens when you have a God complex. See, this is what I think of Mr. Rush. God rest his soul, but he was a fool. He thought he was God. I ain't worried about certifications. I ain't worried about what I made the vessel of. I'm educated. I know what I'm doing. It's been down there 12 times, but it didn't come back up. How about that? Because that's the point of any invention. It can go awry because what is it? It's man-made. Checkmate. Anything man-made can tear up. A lamp, a TV, a radio, a car. Oh, it's fresh from the showroom floor. It should be working. Exactly. Should be. Should be is not is. Present tense. It ain't working. It is not working properly. But I got a warranty. I can take it back. Amen. No taking back a human life submerged 13,000 feet below the sea. There is no even exchange, even swap. The earth, as you hear in this article, the water is glad to swallow you up whole. As Candyman once said, be my victim. Indeed. The water is hell. And I personally have a fear of water, so I don't play around when it's storming and riding through water on the road as you have been warned not to do so. Shaky when going across bridges because a bridge can collapse, as you have seen here recently. Apartment building falling down in the Midwest. Skyscraper building falling down in Florida. Nothing is sacred. On ground, on the water, under the water. Nothing. Because it's man-made. And so long that it is man-made, it can be deemed faulty. Checks, balances, or not. Prayers to the 5 decedents. I think it is time for many people to accept that you do not need to go to the highest peak You do not need to go hike in the mountains unprepared. Severe weather. You do not need to be on the boat all day. Good weather, bad weather. You do not need to climb Mount Everest. You do not need to go 13,000 feet down to see a wrecked train, boat, whatever. Why don't you accept life on top of the dirt? Live accordingly and be grateful for the life that you have been afforded. You can see, you can hear, you can walk, you can talk. Why can't you appreciate nature from afar, from the bottom of the valley? God lets you see the mountaintop. Why do you need to be in there? He gives you a view of the ocean from the shore, but that's not enough for you. You want to be in the water. Why? You see, cockiness and arrogance got these people dead. Because even the people who didn't invent this submersible vessel still took a chance to go in that water, and they had to have known that's a lot of traveling down to the bottom of the earth. 2 hours or more. So if it takes you 2 hours to get there, common sense should tell you it would take more than 2 hours to find me if something happens to the vessel. But they didn't care. They didn't care. And anybody rooting for this company and this type of voyage, there's something wrong with you mentally. Because there's no sense to be made in wanting to go 14,000 below the earth. For what reason? Same distance to go up on a peak, ridge, mountain. For what reason? And then someone has to risk his or her life to now fly above to try to find you and go in to find you in steep terrain and risk their livelihood to rescue you if indeed you are alive. Thank you for joining me. I got information also that Julian Sands, an actor, went missing in California hiking, and some remains have been found. And naturally, they will be tested. We will see if they belong to Mr. Julian Sands. I had not even heard anything about this. So prayers for whomever remains they are. But I thought of him and this Titan business as the same. He was on dry land, but what was he doing up in the mountains? If indeed, let's say he got lost up in there, attacked by a wild animal, whichsoever. Why do you need to be up in there? That's their domain. And that's something you all don't seem to understand about wildlife. They're in there for a reason. Coyotes, bears. Why do you want to be where they are? For what reason? That's why we have bears coming down from the Smoky Mountains as I speak, because their land has been invaded by a man who is greedy for building in their territory, on their territory. So the bears come down wanting food because you are messing with their habitat, because you're greedy. And that's the same with this situation. You build this TikTok ass vessel and people are dead now, including the proprietor, for $250,000, the lucky number. Man is sinister. He's greedy. As I said, a hothead, a know-it-all. And he doesn't mind switching out his life for death. And that's what these people got. And that's what a lot of people have gotten, hiking, going on the water, unprepared, ill-prepared. Prepared, rather. Because they wanted to do what they wanted to do. I know better. You're working against Mother Nature. She has the upper hand, not you. And you're willing to sell your soul to prove a point. I did it. I did it. No, you didn't. Because you're lucky if they find you alive or deceased in the wilderness, on the water, under the water, in the lake, the river, avalanche country. And that's what I heard about Mr. Sands, where he went traveling back in January. Steep terrain, even dangerous for the people searching for him. Very scary information. Prayers for Mr. Sands. My second story is a very interesting story coming out of St. Louis. I'm going to bring you that said information. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. That's in the chat. When I get an update pertaining to the Titan, I will bring it to you. Sorry, I'm a couple of days late on this story. Queen has been quite busy. Prayers for Mr. Deion Sanders, who's had his surgery, and he's in good spirits. I didn't get a lot of details in the article that I read pertaining to what was actually done and performed, and I didn't hear that what all was amputated, but prayers for Mr. Deion Sanders. When I get an update pertaining to him, I will bring it to you. Once again, all 5 members that boarded the Titan are no longer alive. And 5 pieces of that, 5 pieces of debris were found in the wreckage of that implosion. Riverfront Times is my source, St. Louis Metro News. Prosecutors in St. Louis County announced charges yesterday against a 32-year-old woman who they say took it upon herself to chase down the men who stole her sister's car, causing a serious traffic accident and endangering children in the process. According to a police probable cause statement, Francesca Jones' sister had her 2020 Dodge Challenger stolen. One day after the alleged theft, Jones saw the vehicle on West Florissant near Goodfellow Boulevard. At the time, Jones was driving in her own car with children riding with her. She nevertheless began pursuing her sister's stolen car, telling authorities her intent was to ram the thieves off the road. Jones chased the Challenger on Jennings Station Road for about 1.5 miles until the Challenger crashed into a truck. The truck driver and innocent bystanders sustained serious injuries, police say. The Challenger ran off the road and caught fire. At that point, police say Jones stopped her vehicle, got out with a gun, and fired on the men in her sister's burning car, with bullets hitting 2 of them. One of the men returned fire at Jones. The chase and subsequent shooting caused no fatalities, but Jones has been charged with 3 counts of each assault, armed criminal action, and endangering the welfare of a child. She's currently being held on a $750,000 bond. RFT is the source. Riverfront Times. $750,000 bond. 3 counts of assault, endanger the life of a child, and criminal action. Pulling out a gun in open public. So did she have a permit, license for the gun? Was she in the wrong? When you see a picture of Miss Francesca, because I wanted to do this live where I could show you a picture of her, but I can't find out anything that has audio to a video, but just a picture in an article. Miss Jones looks like she's been in a fire herself. When you go to Google, you will see a picture of her mugshot. Miss Jones' face is burned. Her neck and chest area burned. So one will say, what was really the motive for shooting the people in the burning car? Well, I've been burned. I'm going to make sure you don't even get out of this burning car. This is a very weird story because in my right mind, I'm saying Why go to the lengths of trying to stop a car when all you have to do is call 911 and say, hey, I'm following my sister's stolen car. It's going down I-5, I-6, whatever. 2, follow the car. It's crashed. You pull out a gun, shoot these people. Did these people know her? Did these people know the sister? Is this an issue of a car being loaned out but not returned? And why did these people have the audacity to return fire? They're not dead. It says 3 counts. So that leads me to believe that 3 people were in the car. Let me read that again. Three counts each of assault, armed criminal action, and endangering the welfare of a child. $750,000 bond. Did she know the occupants of the car? Why shoot them? As I said, the car caught fire. Were they able to jump out without being burned? Who has time to shoot at someone while escaping a burning car? This is a very strange story. It's one thing to chase the car, but why are we now shooting at the people in the car? And as I said, when you look at her mugshot, Miss Francesca has been burned herself. Was she in a fire, set on fire, doused with gasoline? What happened to Francesca in her past? Because when you look at her mugshot, her face is burned severely, and also her neck and chest area. And I don't know if she was burned farther as far as arms, stomach, legs, but you see where I'm going with this. Was she having flashbacks while the car was on fire? Hell, I'm not going to let them live. Look at me. I'm burned up. Let their asses burn, and I'm going to finish them in there. Shoot them so they can't even get out. Stay woke. Retribution of a different kind. Francesca, do you know those people that were in that car? Did your sister loan the car to some people and they didn't return it? Or someone broke into the car and stole it? And where was it stolen from? House, mall, store? Carjack? What are we saying? Where was the car stolen from? Who actually stole the car? Guy, girl, female, child? What are we saying? Did the sister know who stole her car? And why are you riding around in a stolen car? So this is when you know how stupid people are. You steal a car and you're riding around in it as if the people did not report the car stolen. You don't think anything's bad going to happen to you riding around in a stolen car. Because you know that once you see the police and they give way and they try to make you stop, get on the bullhorn and say pull over, you already know what they want. So what are you going to do? Start speeding in the car and crash? Which they realized this woman was chasing them in this car. That's how they crash. And then she had children in her car. Do not know if the children belong to her or not. That's her other charge, endangering the life of a child. So she didn't care about her life. She didn't care about the children's lives. She didn't care about the pedestrians on the street, other drivers. I got to stop this car. These fools stole my sister's car. One thing we do know, she's loyal to the sister, is she not? But she had no care for self and the occupants of her car. But what I'm going to ask you is this. Do you think she was in the wrong for chasing the car, getting out and shooting the people in the car? Because they also returned gunfire to Miss Francesca Jones, young lady, early 30s. I believe Francesca has some war wounds, as you can see from her mugshot. She's been immersed in flames before herself. I'd like to know the circumstances for which she had acquired these burns. Lucky to be alive. But maybe she had flashbacks while the car caught fire. Hell no, they ain't getting out of there. They stole my sister's car. Hope they die in there. Let me help them out. I'm going to kill them. Nobody is deceased. You see, the old saying, you reap what you sow in life. You stole this car. Don't know if all the people were together when the car was stolen. That's inside of the car. But whichsoever, you're riding around in this car with this person who's stolen the car. Now, high-speed chase because somebody has recognized the car. What are they saying to each other inside of the car? Hey, man, stop, slow down. You're going to kill us. See, they could have died just from the crash itself. Number two, the car caught fire. Could have been trapped inside. And then you've got Miss Annie Oakley with a gun shooting at the car and the occupants inside. Was Francesca Jones in the wrong for shooting at the people in the car? Now, many of you will agree that she should get the child endangerment charge for speeding in the car with the kids, naturally jumping out to shoot at these people in the car, endangering the lives of pedestrians and other drivers. But was she in the wrong for shooting at the people in the car? And does she know them? And do they know her sister? Is this more of a domesticated type situation? Car borrowed but not returned on time. Or an actual theft of a car. That's my commentary for this Sunday evening. Please check my community board for said updates, breaking news, and polls. I will put up a poll pertaining to Francesca being held. $750,000 bond. The Titan, a submersible vessel, imploded in the ocean last Sunday. Dark waters. 5 dead. Many agencies searching for the wreckage and debris. And naturally, they have to use certain artillery to bring up the wreckage once found. And once again, scary, dangerous work for those people. So as I said, when people go off into waters and the ocean and the lakes and the rivers and the mountains, there's somebody who has to try to bring you out of there, search for you. And they're also risking their safety and livelihood to find you, whether you are alive or you're deceased. Is it fair to them? But they take on this job because obviously this is the kind of work they want to do. But I would be too scared for my own safety to go that far down in water trying to find somebody. These people chose their deaths, unfortunately. And they paid a price for their own deaths. That's the jacked up part of the story. You paid almost $300,000 to kill yourself. Make a company rich off of the risk of death. That's what I see here. And frankly, the other partner shouldn't even speak. Don't even say anything else. Because the more you talk, the more stupid you look and sound. There's no price or wager for death. Because it's sad to know that these people had a full life before paying these people this amount of money to go 14,000 feet below the sea to see a wreck Titanic ship. And as one man says in his commentary I read to you, this is sacred ground. And that's when I realized how serious this is, venturing down there to see what exactly. A wrecked ship that had 1,000+ people that perished in the water. A very horrible death. Because as I said, you can't suck up all that ocean water, whether you can swim or not. And many people die on the lake, on the river each year, especially in the summertime. Boating accidents, mishaps, deliberate jumpings, suicides, or just not paying attention, being careless. I don't play with the water. I respect the water. Always have and always will. I've been invited to go on a cruise, not a cruise, but a night cruise next month on the river. I ain't going nowhere. I'm not getting on nobody's water at night. Because you can bet nobody will have a life preserver on that night cruise up and down the river. Because everybody wants to look cute and dapper. But all it takes is one mishap. The driver of the boat not paying attention. He's drinking, high, geeked up. Somebody else is on the water, rams the boat. You never know. And I'm not taking that chance. Because I don't want to be sinking on the water at night. Because it's harder to try to retrieve people in the dark. I like the land. The shoreline is fine with me. I was born on top of this dirt, and I pray that I end my life on top of the dirt. And when it's time to bury me, yes, they put me 6 feet down. But other than that, we're not getting ready to rearrange the circumstances. Or let's just say the layout for the format. I want to thank you for your time. You all have a wonderful week. Please look for my movie suggestions for the week and weekend. Last week's suggestions was Mama, documentary White Boy, and my weekend movie was Trinket Box, playing on Tubi. And Mama is also playing on Tubi. This week you will have a new movie suggestion. Please stay posted. I'll bring you an update to this Titanic vessel. The Titan, rather. I will bring you an update to what the agencies are doing to try to find the debris from the wreckage. And also, I'll bring you an update to Miss Francesca Jones, who's been held on a $750,000 bond, 3 counts of assault, carrying this gun, shooting it in public, and child endangerment. Prayers for the victims. Although they did make the sound choice to go on this voyage, but they're still human beings. And I pray that no other company, such as this company, Oceangate, will send another vessel down in the water. And I think after this, there will be a mandate by the Maritime that they cannot put any other vessels in the water, on the water, that have not been licensed, verified professionally. And it is sad that a person's cockiness, 2 men's cockiness, got these people killed. But still in the end, these other people, it was their decision to go on the voyage. Nobody forced them. But sadly, they lost their lives. And this is a horrible death. And I can't imagine what happened down there in that water. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $DeAngie, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Thank you for your time. You all please be safe out there. I will be back with more stimulating commentary and conversations this week. Please be safe, everybody. Be aware of your surroundings. You have been listening to The Vault. Exhale.